Well, yes, and I certainly agree that people are fed up with all of it, and this just is like another straw on the camel's back. But I'm not so sure about whether they're going to not be allowed to continue, because, these people really don't care what the American people think right now. They've come to the point where they just sort of go ahead anyway. I mean, this whole issue of global warming is a perfect example. I would say that about a year or a year and a half ago, if you were to poll the average citizen out there, the overwhelming majority of them would say, oh, yes, we've got global warming. Yes, it's something that's very serious, and we've got to do something about it. But now, with all of the scientific evidence that has come out and all of the obvious fact of global cooling that's been taking place for about a year now, I think if you polled the average person, they'd say, yeah, there's a bunch of bunk. There's no global warming going on at all, and these guys just want to use that as an excuse to have a tax and have more power. That's the drift of the thinking, but does it stop Congress? Does it stop the Senate?
And that's the key.
The president? And no, it doesn't even slow them down. They don't give a damn what the American people think. They've got their own agenda, and they have the power to execute it. So that should be a wake-up call for people.
Well, but that's the key, is that they do just ignore us on every front. And it's clear they've made the decision to go ahead and push us into revolution. That's what their paramilitary Northcom's ready for. They've told the police, get ready, the vets, the gun owners are going to attack you. And it's kind of a self-fulfilling process to further destroy the country. I'm not saying they're going to go with that, but if they can goad us into physical conflict, all the better for them. It's just another form of problem, reaction, solution. Your comments on that?
Well, yes, I think that they have anticipated that long ago, that inevitably it would come to an uprising, and so they started to prepare for it. And I think they came to the point about maybe a year and a half ago, where they think that the sooner the better. Let's get on with it. Let's close the gate. Let's have a good excuse for bringing about martial law. Let's goad people into the streets. Let's get them, wild-eyed, full of revolt. People don't understand the difference between a revolt and a revolution. Revolts never succeed. Revolutions sometimes succeed. And the difference between the two is that revolutions have leadership. They're usually conducted by governmental units within a governmental entity.
They have manifestos. They have creeds.
They have
it's an idea.
Training, funding, communications, a strategy. They have everything. Whereas, just plain revolt is where people throw up their hands and say, I'm sick and tired. I'm not going to put up with it anymore. And they grab their musket and go out in the street. Well, they're easily mowed down. I mean, the American Revolution was not a revolt. It was a revolution. It was fought by the continental governments. The colonies had their militia, they had their training, their leaders, their ammunition, they had strategy, funding, they had all of that.
And they had a code, and they had a manifesto.
Yes, but they had leadership. Their leaders in the colonial representative governments declared on their behalf, and so forth. Now, you can argue with some of that, but the point is that it was organized. Today,
and that also lended legitimacy.
Yes. Today, these revolts that people are urging on the American people are just suicidal. It just makes me sick to see it.
Well, I actually think a revolt's going to chew up a lot of military and police, but the globalists don't care. That will then make the government the victim, and then the real oppression comes in.
Yes.
And that's why I always see these federal operatives trying to hype it, but they never get in trouble. Folks, if you're not a federal operative and you call for violence, they come after you. But they have people out there always calling for violence and saying, why doesn't Alex call for violence? He's a coward. Those are feds, folks. Guaranteed. They want to prematurely have us launch our revolution. We need to let the enemy's abuses continue to pile up while we continue to peacefully wake up the people until the government itself, many people in it, don't want to go along with it. And we're already starting to see that, G. Edward.
I'm glad to hear that. I was not aware of that, but it's good news.
Oh, yeah. Let's go ahead and take a call. Ronnie in Texas, you're on the air with G. Edward Griffin, author of Creature from Jekyll Island. Go ahead.
Thank you, gentlemen. About A Creature from Jekyll Island, I've just given copies to the new mayor, Leffingwell. He's sharing it with Mike Martinez, and my sisters, other friends at the farmers market and stuff. Your copies of your book. Yeah. It's so phenomenal.
Well, thank you.
And I've yet to thank. Oh, I'm trying to thank you. I'm so honored to hear your voice, and you can hear me. I've yet to get feedback, but I have in effect been banned from the city council. I'm sure you have experience with that, Mr. Jones. But OBGYN Dr. Ron Paul Revolution of Love for Liberty in our sacred Constitution, through the campaignforliberty.com, just keeps on keeping on. I had to throw that in there. But about what you were saying earlier, elitism is at the core of all of this. Bigotry and elitism. And so eugenics is fundamentally evil, and it's one of our main problems in defeating eugenics is the fact that there is some truth in what they say about human overpopulation. I mean, the population of humans on Earth has more than doubled in my lifetime. And thus it is a real challenge for survival in the future. But I also agree with you, Mr. Jones, and Mr. Watson, your previous guest, that the killing people is not the answer. Obviously, there are no guarantees.
Well, here's the deal. Even if you think we're overpopulated, which actually is disinfo at many levels, some of the technologies are dirty and bad and have problems and need to be perfected or improved on. The issue is all this eugenics isn't about population. It's about control. It's about restricting. It's about feudalism. It's about serfdom. It's about a top-down, vertically integrated global government. And it's about controlling human destiny and dumbing the mass down. I appreciate your call. The eugenicists are actually trying to dumb people down to make them more manageable. G. Edward Griffin?
Well, yeah, no question about it. And I think this issue of overpopulation needs to be focused on. The evidence is very strong that in advanced societies, the population now is decreasing. Only in parts of the world is it increasing. I believe
so the answer is you increase the technology, and they all know that. G. Edward Griffin, final segment straight ahead. Stay with us. Riveting info.